born with an extra chromosome. He has Down syndrome. My kid has more chromosomes than any of you. So we won. So Trig, though, going to a wonderful public school that thankfully our district does put resources into some therapy, some things that a child with special needs needs. I don't want to have to take him out of that school, but you're right. We do all have to have that line, you know, no, I would take him out of school if a continuation adversely affects him, his learning, if it impacts, you know, that chipping away of our freedoms. I would have to, you know, make that sacrifice, and we would have to find somewhere else to go.
And I just find it to be so. It's so creepy the way that they're pushing this thing. And again, I just generally don't trust anyone in that entire community. And they won't answer any questions about this. We've tried to have these people on our show. Like, hey, can someone from the NIH come on our show and answer these questions? Like, no, shut up, racist. Like, okay, whatever. And so it's like, no, like, I actually want you to tell our audience and explain these things. Explain what an emergency youth authorization is. Explain why there had to be some suspensions of the administration of it. And we just never get any clear answers on that. And so, Governor, let's talk about some other current events. The border is wide open. We're seeing a lot of problems related to that. China seems to continue to strengthen and influence. There's attacks on our Second Amendment rights. We need to fix the way we do elections in our country to make sure we have fair and transparent elections in the future. If you had to name one or two of the most important things in front of us, what do you think are the things we have to focus on? Because they're strategies to try to distract us amongst many different problems.
Oh, right. I mean, it's one thing after another that they are using as distractions. There are a couple issues, though, that we really need to keep tabs on. One is school choice. That's going to be a big issue coming up. Oh, yeah, that's fundamental. Any atrophying of our Bill of Rights, though, anything that they are doing, like Second Amendment rights, our freedom of speech, that one, our freedom of speech, because once that is gone, you know what the aim is when they don't want you to talk about something? What that leads to is they don't want you to think about something so that you won't be tempted to talk about something. And history shows, you know, through some time-tested truths, what tyrants are able to do to the masses as they chip away, take away that freedom of speech. It's thought control, because they do want to control what you're thinking so you will not speak it. So you have to look at each one of these issues. What's the end goal of them? As they take away more and more of our freedoms, what is it that they actually want? And when you go there, it should make you rise up and say, no, this is America. Our country is based on freedom. We dedicated this land to God, our founding fathers. We have been blessed because of that. We have made a covenant with the people for generations that we would be a free country, where that beacon of hope for any other country, any other person around the globe would be able to look at America and say, oh, that is the land of the free. Let us strive to be that, to do that. Now, if that is taken away, there is no other place on earth. There is nowhere to go. We cannot let that happen. So each one of these issues chipping away at that right, at that right, at that freedom, at that freedom. Once that snowballs, then it is gone. So you girls need to get ready to start running for office, school board, city council, borough and county offices, state governments. We need you in there. And don't think that you're too young. Don't think you're not qualified. I started very young. I was in PTO, PTA, then ran for city council, then I was a city manager, mayor, oil and gas commissioner. See, I have to give my resume because people always think, oh, she's just a hockey mom from Wasilla. Governor, and then VP candidate, and doing these other things. And if you start foundationally at that level, of local level, you learn what public service is all about. You are so accountable. You go to the grocery store and someone's going to bug you about the dog that's barking at 4 o'clock in the morning in their neighborhood, and you're the mayor, so you better go fix the problem. You are accountable. From budgets where you're spending your grandma who lives in your town, where you're spending her tax dollars. You have a public servant's heart, or you're not going to do well on the local level. I wish our politicians who are in that upper echelon, I wish they all would have started on the local level so that they could understand what public service is, literally.
And reclaiming that idea of citizen government. And so, in closing, Governor, there's so many young women here, and you touched on this a little bit, that want to know what they can do and how they can do it. Just share some more wisdom that you have about some of the difficulties they're going to face. Yeah. There's going to be times when they want to give up. How do they keep going?
Yeah. Again, you have to know that you can look around and notice and see it, strengthening one another. We're not alone in this. And I would encourage you, in a practical sense, to be ready to run for office and to help others get elected who share these priorities, who share the ideology, who share just a basic common sense constitutional conservatism that runs through their veins. Stay loyal to them, because what I find in the business of media and politics, I have a journalism degree. I started out in sportscasting and worked in the news. Media and politics, loyalty is like a non-existent virtue. So when you find people whom you can support, stick with them through thick and thin. Stick with them when you see them getting clobbered by the mainstream media, lamestream media. Stand up for them. Help them out. We have to do this as a team. The left, no, we don't believe they're wacko. They are so wacko, and they're getting worse and worse. But they're good at sticking together, at least, and that's why they've been able to just boulder through some of these issues, because we've been too splintered.
Well, and I agree, and I say this to a lot of conservative audiences that we have. There's all this like drama at times on Twitter of like conservatives going after each other. It drives me nuts. I mean, there's so few of us that are actually in the courage, like trying to be courageous and in that space, and you guys are part of it. And even if you disagree with someone, there's this thing called direct messaging. You could do it privately. You don't have to put it publicly.
Really?
Oh, I'm going to go tell the world why I'm right. It drives me nuts. And so, Governor, I truly believe that culturally we are going to win when people start rising up, and most specifically when women start to rise up.
Yes.
Closing, tell us the role of conservative women broadly and generally, and what that means for America.
Oh my goodness, it's time for conservative women, young women, to have their voice heard, to be able to let your priorities be known. Because what you're standing for, no, please no, gals, what you're standing for is right. Time-tested truths that prove foundationally what you believe in is right. We can't go wrong with what we believe in, with what the message is, because it is right. It's just a matter of us really being able to get out there. You see all the press that like AOC gets, you know, oh, she just walks on water, according to, you know, all the press. It's because she's loud. Well, you know, a lot of women have been taught not to be loud, to sit back and be pretty and be polite, and you know, that's passé. We just can't afford to do that anymore. We need to be the ones bold, courageous, loud, louder than they are.
Well, Governor, I know I speak on behalf of all these amazing young women from across the country. Thank you for being such a good role model. And we didn't touch on this, but you're a hunter, so no matter what you say or do, you're high in my book, because you actually are in nature and you understand the beauty of it, and you talk about it, so thank you for that. And you have a large family, and you're such a good role model, and I hope every single one of you, young conservative women, and this is our nation together, will look to the governor as a role model, as someone who has just, they did everything they could. A lot of you weren't really able to see back, this was 2008, right, Governor? The summer of 2008, you gave the most amazing speech in Minneapolis at the Republican National Convention, probably one of the most amazing, everyone should go look it up, and you have refused to apologize to these maniacs. You have never backed down to them. You have stayed true to who you are when other people, not going to say other names, who are also at that convention, have always tried to sue for peace, and you have always held the line, and you deserve to be thanked for that, Governor, because you are a hero in my book. So thank you so much. So thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.